Good afternoon, everyone. This is Doug Waddell, Assistant to the Dean of the College of Human Science and Education over all of the graduate recruitment. And we're welcoming you to a meeting of so you want to attend graduate school. So welcome into our meeting today. We have the esteemed Dr. Ray Castle, who is over our Master of Science in Athletic Training. Dr. Castle, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. So tell us about yourself in this wonderful program.
Well, just briefly about myself. I have been here since 2002 as the program director. I graduated from LSU. I got my master's and PhD at University of Southern Mississippi. So professionally, I've done a number of different things, worked in a number of different settings, from high school outreach as an athletic trainer to some clinic work, to I've done some travel with various international teams before, just in some bigger events, and so I do that. Our program director. I'm as you can see by the credentials, I'm a licensed athletic trainer, also a national registered EMT. So it's an easy mix in with emergency medicine. I do as an athletic trainer, and do on the side. I enjoy doing a lot of different events, like large scale events. So we, from marathons, triathlons, medical coordination of that. And that's pretty much it in a brief nutshell. So I'm excited to be here today to talk about our new program, Master of Science in Athletic Training, that goes, we start in a couple of weeks. We'll start accepting applications for our initial cohort that will start in June of 2021. So wow. Very excited to talk about the program and just talk about graduate school in general and what opportunities here at LSU, regardless of what the degree is here for that. So,
absolutely. So we're ready to get started. I'm excited to hear about the program.
Great. So I appreciate the opportunity to join today. And again, the focus is going to be in the Master of Science in Athletic Training. However, we can talk about some other questions that may come up, as we may have mentioned about, so you want to go to graduate school. And for this program in athletic training, it is we've been here for a number of years. However, we're making a nationwide transition across the profession, going from a master's degree to going to the master's degree. So that will come in place within a year or two. Most, if not all, programs will have already transitioned over. So obviously my contact information is on your left, my Twitter and email and then phone number. Best way to catch me right now is just through all this. I'm out of the office, but I can check email. And we can set, if anyone has a question, I can be reached, and we can set up a Zoom meeting for a phone or video and talk one-on-one if you'd like to about our program. Also on the right is our LSU Athletic Training Twitter and also our Athletic Training website. So for those who don't know what an athletic trainer is, we're a licensed healthcare provider, just like you would say is more of a mid-level. You think of like a physician assistant. We work under physician direction. There have been typically two routes as an undergraduate and graduate, but until 2022 that goes away. Then you may see them as a MSAT or MAT across the country based on the institution. So athletic trainers have their national credential. They have to sit for a national board exam, and then that allows you to practice sit for the state licensure in the respective states. And we typically have to get about 50 hours, and there may be some additional state level requirements that the regulatory agencies oversee. For us in Louisiana, we are regulated by the Louisiana State Board of Medical Examiners. For our program, we are the first program that has moved to the master's degree in athletic training in Louisiana. Wow. So that's just something in a nutshell. So what do we do? And I think you see this a lot. Where you see a lot of high profile as you work at a college, or you may be at a high school or a professional team where you see someone's injured. Those folks who initially run out, those are licensed athletic trainers, may also be a team physician, but typically the ones are going to be there, an athletic trainer. We're well beyond just having the athletic trainer at a sports setting. So there are athletic trainers who work with NASA. They work in fire and law enforcement, keeping public safety healthy. They do it with a gamut of, obviously, emergency medicine is one area. So our skill sets are based on emergency care. We're able to diagnose and treat injuries. We do a tremendous amount of wellness education and health promotion. From our interventions and therapeutic rehabilitation of injuries, even depending on the setting and the skill training, we will do suturing, wound debridement, other medical care practices as well. So IV administration, in addition to normal things we would do with a practice setting. And then also with some additional training that the athletic trainers are now, we're very common to see they're assisting in surgery as a first assist, like an orthopedic surgery. I know in other specialty areas with that, we conduct research, also own in private practice, a number of different areas for that. So looking at where we work, where athletic trainers work, and it really looks at where our graduates of our program go and where in a master's degree where they can go as well. Some will work in specialty areas. However, it is very common to athletic trainers work in hospitals, obviously the sports medicine clinic, military, U.S. Olympic teams as well, like performing arts, for example. You see Cirque du Soleil is a really big one example, not there, but other performing arts areas. There are athletic trainers that travel with musicians such as Drake. They go. I know that they have an athlete. He has an athletic trainer that has been on tour with them and provides care. They have 200 in their crew that help set up for his event. So wow. That's one example. So providing medical care and overseeing that is a big task for a big crew to do that, keep them healthy day in, day out, just like we would see an athlete or in the military, et cetera. Also, we have industrial settings like at Amazon and FedEx. We have two of our athletic trainers that work with Amazon. So they do a lot of wellness and prevention and then also in other occupational settings. So after students graduate, though, they can look at postgraduate specialty training. So they go into an area in those areas off to the right. Primarily, we're seeing, a big one is orthopedics and primary care, emergency care, rehabilitation. The other areas are still intertwined, and you can get some specialty certifications and credentialing through residency training, et cetera. Obviously there's a big need and a big need in healthcare in general. I mean, we have you think about the population's getting older, we're healthier, we are more active. So it's just more need for any of those providers to deal with a lot with sports injuries as well. So you see this, get an example like professional sports. You see a lot that are, the 40-year-old athlete, professional athlete, that parallels with what the other, across the board with different activities. Here in Baton Rouge, we have a lady who is 104 years old who was supposed to be competing in the 100 and 200 meter dash in the senior Olympics, or we used track and field outdoor this year. And unfortunately, we weren't able to see that. But she is, she's a phenomenal example of that life extending and where they need care across the lifespan, not just the typical athlete we see at a high school, it's across the lifespan. So work a number of different settings. For example, I've got a picture of a good friend of mine, Jay Sidori, you see with the federal agent. He actually works with the U.S. Marine Corps and oversees a lot of their fitness program they do worldwide. So, and coordinates that whole training for them as well. And then also the big thing is physicians want, and they need a highly skilled provider, and the patients need that. So that's where they're looking at athletic trainers to fill that void for them. So, one question we typically get is, well, what are other clinicians? So, we apply for the similar jobs. We're part of a physician-led team or physician-directed practice or collaborative team. That's really important, being collaborative. You're working with a number of different providers, and collectively, we're putting our minds together and our skill sets to be the best care possible for the patient in front of us. So we also work in a number of settings, a number of similar skill sets. We're obviously trained in a medical model, and then for athletic trainers, we require physician supervision or obviously direction. It doesn't necessarily be directly there are physically present, but they have to have a direct relationship and given direction in what we do on a daily basis. So as far as our preparation, we do here and across the country and even for other programs. For those programs, you're going to see a minimum of 2 years of clinical experience. All these the programs in athletic training, they are accredited. They have the Commission on Accreditation for Athletic Training Education, the CATE. They regulate that just like they have other specialized accreditors for other healthcare providers. Typically, these programs are going to last anywhere from 24 to 27 months. You have to expect to be full-time. This is just like going to med school or going to PA school or PT, OT. Those schools are very intensive, and this is no different either. The typical question is, hey, can I work outside of, can I work? Well, you can, but it's a very demanding, medical education is very demanding. So it's hard to find that. So you have to plan accordingly for that. And then also think about for our program, students will take the board exam during their last semester. They'll actually, where our goal is once we get the master's program, they will take that probably in February, and it's part of their requirement to graduate, and they sit for their master's degree. And once they graduate, they can practice. They're immediately able to practice. So, where are these programs found? Obviously, students look for our program as LSU is one of the flagship institutions is the flagship institution in Louisiana. It's within the region and the country. We're seen for the number of things that we do and offer students capabilities to be successful. But across the board, you see the programs, the Commission on Accreditation of Athletic Training Education, or CATE. That's where you find the programs. It tells program status for any programs in the country you're looking at. So there are no programs in Alaska. There is now 1 to 2 programs that have been international as well. So now that expands the ability for the students to sit for those respective international licensing boards. Like, for example, in Ireland, they have an organization called ARTI, which is our peer equivalent for athletic trainers. So if a student wanted to to practice in Ireland, then they could sit for the BOC here, and they could challenge that exam there, and then vice versa, coming back as well. Obviously, in 2019, about 45,000 plus athletic trainers. The U.S. Department of Labor expects athletic training to have one of the top 10 growth areas of any of the health professions for that. So we're in very high demand. As far as what students look at, and this is fairly typical for not just athletic training, but it applies to us, but other graduate schools that, if you see Doug and you look at this, you have the same questions, I'm sure, other programs. The big thing is you're going to research your programs. You want to find out what is looking at programs and do a good comparison check. For health professions, you will take prerequisite coursework. For athletic training, it's pretty intensive. I think ends up being probably around 30 to 40 hours, regardless of the program. And then also you think about what no difference that you would have for med school or PA school, et cetera, getting those schools.
So, Ray, what are some of the classes that they're taking in that prerequisite coursework? So
they have physics, is core science, is foundational scientific knowledge. So, and then we have our courses that are more the applied knowledge areas as well. So I'm going to mention that. I'm going to show that in a minute, what we have, what are our core requirements. But, just to briefly hit on that, you're thinking about human anatomy and physiology, biology, chemistry, physics, nutrition, statistics, psychology, and a couple of exercise physiology, biomechanics, personal health and wellness, medical terminology. So there are a number, and I'll outline that in a minute, but those are the kind of areas you're looking at as having a core foundation. So when you go to those graduate school, or go to a graduate school, you're going to have a foundational base that's going to make you very prepared to be successful in these master programs. And these are most of them are going to be around 60 hours or so. So it's not the typical 30-hour, it's the professional preparation degree. So they may run from 60 to 70 hours, give or take, hours of 60 credit hour program over two years, which includes clinical experiences. So anyway, we have to take the GRE. That's the minimum and that we would accept here at LSU. You also get shadowing experiences under a licensed athletic trainer or a licensed physician. The physician can be an MD or DO, or osteopathic physician or medical doctor. Both are the same, just different credentials. So we have to have that. You'll have a written statement, and I'm going to talk about in a second the ATCAS. It's the Common Application System. So you would apply. Students will apply through LSU for that as well. So ATCAS is just a common platform that students can log in, and they upload common information. So I think as of this summer, there will be about 150 institutions that utilize ATCAS. And what that means is really beneficial that we're putting in the work to put that in. It's a lot of work, but in a really good way, because now we are the student, any prospective student, they will be able to see our information on the system and be able to evaluate our program versus other programs very easily. They put the same information up. So the same letters of reference, the same transcripts, everything that students push up, test scores, they push it into the system. And when they're ready to hit apply to LSU, they hit apply to LSU or any other school as well. So it has the same, all the schools are we're looking at the same thing. So it makes it really easy as a one-stop shop for a student versus having to apply to 10 different, 5 different schools. They have to do a separate process, and that really can become cumbersome. So this is very common what VetMed does, veterinary medicine, PA, MD, those different respective schools as well. So we have that. So as far as athletic training and student applying here, our application process is going to be around June, I would say June 30th. We're actually going to probably moving it back a week or so. We're having to implement this, get into ATCAS, so we're flowing that into there. But it will end in December 1. Students can get all that information uploaded for that. We're going to do some additional webinars throughout this upcoming year as students as information about the program, and not just group like we're doing here, but also we'll do individual meetings as well. It's really important because students may have some individual prerequisites. We review those with them as well to make sure that they're on track. And then most importantly, they're not taking unnecessary courses that they are speculating they may have here. We want to make sure that this is what they need the quickest path to get those degree coursework. That's time, it's money, it's effort. And we value that. It's really important that students, we can maximize that for them. And hopefully those things will also apply to different other schools as well. Come December 2nd, then we close the applications, we start reviewing all the material and all the applicants, and then we narrow that down to an interview phase. We'll have set dates where applicants we've invited to come in for an interview. And then we do an acceptance after that period of time, right after that. And then there's some other requirements that students will have to show. And it's just more documentation, being ready to start in June of next year. So we're less than a year from the starting. It's moved very fast. And wow. Our cohort, we're going to have a maximum of 24 to 26. That's a really common question of where that looks at as well for them. So obviously the big thing is, what are the mission requirements? And those are on our website. And by the way, Doug, I know you don't know this yet, but we're in the process of revamping our website for the master's program. And probably another week or so, hopefully it's going to go live. We're adding some more content, organizing a little bit better, adding some more things in there, such as we already have FAQs on there. So that's a really good resource. We have basically a degree checklist that students can print off, and they can just keep and walk down the list for themselves as well. But and this outlines these things as well. But obviously they have to have a bachelor's degree. And I want to emphasize that students can still apply and take courses, even though the deadline is December 1, that we're accept students taking classes up and through spring. So you have 1 or 2 courses left. We have high performing students that are doing across the country that are applying and internationally. And so we want to make sure that they are, they can still meet those requirements. So they're probably taking a remaining course, and we'll tell students next year, maybe we'll have a couple that may say, they're in the process and we've we've accepted you. We want you to come here, but all you have to do is just finish this one course out that you have left. So it's not pressure to get it done beforehand. So before having everything in place. So ideally, you look at a student who may be a senior going into this year, they're going to apply during this year, and they go through all that process. They graduate in May, and they're moving. They already know where they're going, and then they come to LSU in June, and then that starts the time clock for 2 years from then. And then the May of that 2 years, our goal is, and our mission for them is they're getting a great experience both clinically in the classroom. They're sitting for their board exam. They pass the board exam, they have a job, and then they're waiting to graduate. And so when they leave, they're already ready to go to where they need to go to be successful when they leave our program. So those are some of our requirements as well. Other ones as well as on the website also. The question you asked about was prerequisites earlier. I want to address that again. Is obviously these are in the bold, those are the areas, common prerequisite areas. All of the ones with exception of medical terminology and personal health and wellness, those are specific for LSU. Some schools may have that as well, but those courses we have to have, this is what we identify as prerequisite coursework. The courses we have below, those are LSU courses, and I want to emphasize that. So we just use that as a benchmark, and we're looking at, so students contact us, and I've been doing that a lot in the last week or two. They're asking about prerequisite coursework. So all we do is I do a one-on-one meeting with a student, and then we walk through those courses that they are taking or will take, and it may be multiple if they've taken some, different, they take one course at one university and over the summer, and then take another one as well. We map that out for them, but also we keep a record of that. So the next time another student comes in, then we already have that list, and we're going to be publishing that also. So it'll make it really easy, and we're trying to have those already mapped out pretty easily. So it makes it easy. So it's really not a level of confusion of what that may or may not be. And then also I want to emphasize, Doug, is that we, let's say, for example, a student had nutrition, and it may be a part, they may have actually taken the components of this course we have. It may have been actually covered in two different courses, like a half of one, half another. Well, we're going to look at that and we'll say, okay, we can easily map, we want to make sure they have the equivalent of that. And that's not a course specific level, it's just a knowledge level of competence. So we can map that out. In like, for example, human anatomy and physiology, that takes several classes. So some universities have that, and you've probably seen this as well, is some universities have a human anatomy and physiology 1, human anatomy and physiology 2. And those include, versus here at LSU, we have anatomy. In our department, we have human physiology and biological sciences, and then we have some other labs. So we'll mix and match and make sure that students can meet those requirements as well. So one thing we have with students, they're coming in at LSU, what's the best degree? We want you to have the prerequisites. That's regardless of what the degree is in. We have a pre-athletic training concentration that's in the Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology. That's really intended, or initially developed that for students coming out of initially going into high school, and then meet all the requirements as part of that. So, but we know that students are changing, they may have a career change, or in the case of the master's degree, we may have a student who's been out for several years, may have been, and they want to do a career change, and they want to get in healthcare, and they want to be a licensed athletic trainer. Well, they take the prerequisites, and that's how we map that out for them as well. But also we have fitness studies, current students, and human movement concentration here at LSU that they're already doing that. The most typical route you may see if you're looking at those courses is going to be an exercise science or kinesiology degree from an institution in the country. That's our health sciences base. You'll get those courses automatically. Why we look at LSU. So this is, you look to this picture is actually one of our main facility that we use in Tiger Stadium, and it's part of our medical facility in Broussard Center for Athletic Training. So we're enjoying that for another 2 years, and obviously we've got the full renovation of Huey P. Long coming on board, and we'll have another dedicated space bigger than this. and then we'll move into that. So obviously, we think that we will have phenomenal facilities. The new facility, our expectations, we will have a high fidelity simulation lab. So being able to do a number of different high level training with not just with students, but also we can do that with the community as well. We want to educate our providers and bring the best interprofessional collaboration there. We have phenomenal staff that we send students to for their preceptor, as their preceptors and clinical sites at high schools, at our medical clinics here in town, such as Bratton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. We do our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. We have urgent care areas, high schools, things we do here as well. So really some nice opportunities for students to expand their learning and knowledge base and skill base. Obviously, we do some internships as well. We've got several students going this summer. Two of them going to the Saints. Other student she'll be going up to the Titans as an NFL internship, and not just there, but other opportunities as well. And obviously, I think we have a really fun environment. We focus on family first, and it's really important for us. We just don't say that as a mantra. We try to live that every day, and we just have really got a great family. And then also we've got some pretty good athletes who are here as well. Both at high school and different. We get to work with those as well. Obviously, some of our facilities, a sampling of those, what you see here in our main facility, and then some of our other satellite facilities as well. We've done a number of different internships, not just here. We do baseball, other types of opportunities for students as well. So, and these just really provide some nice opportunities students will be able to do in the summertime. And then obviously we've got some, I said, pretty good. They're really good athletes, but they're fantastic people we get to work with, and that's really probably one of the more rewarding things that we get to do as an athletic trainer. Is get to see a lot of people get to see the athlete winning championships and doing things, but it's some really phenomenal people that they enrich our lives, and we're trying to do the same for them, both physically and mentally, and support them in their endeavors. So students can also get information regarding an athletic trainer and what the roles, responsibilities, regulatory wise as well. And then obviously we can answer those questions as well individually, or they have questions about what those are as well. And then our contacts, you can see here, obviously my contacts, and also Dr. Amanda Benson is our assistant program director. She's also a clinical coordinator for our program. And then this time, another year, we're going to be adding a third faculty member. So we'll be excited to bring that on and start that process moving forward, just with the demands of our program. So that's pretty much it in kind of the nutshell for our program.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. So let me ask you a quick question, Doc. I know many graduate students, when they talk to me, the first thing they want to know is, so how's the research and writing requirement? What's the research and writing requirement for you all? What's your expectation?
So ours is a non-thesis program, but it's going to be heavily, our program is geared towards writing, learning to write in the medical discipline. So they're writing case reports. We're doing lit reviews, things they've already learned already, but we have specific structure using, and the goal is we're getting students to prepare to submit case studies for presentation at national or the regional conferences. Their work is intertwined, so we'll encourage them also and mentor them to do writing. It's a very, in the medical realm, if you're not doing some form of research, you're really not practicing good medicine. And you have to stay abreast of what that means. It doesn't mean everything, but we start that process. We want to encourage students to do research. We're doing it inherently. And I like to think of research as, it's not just sitting here doing a study with someone. It is sharing knowledge. It is, case studies are a prime example where students will go out clinically, they see a unique case. Now let's bring this in the classroom and share this, or other experience, because that's how I go to medical conferences, and you've done the same thing, or any other professor in any other discipline. they go to a conference, they collaborate, and they're asking, how do you do this and how do you do so? That's an important part of the application of knowledge and skills is being able to learn from others. So we do that. We don't have a thesis, but we will have research, presentations. We're preparing students as part of that. When they leave our degree program, they've got to give about not just walking the walk, they've got to be running with it and run, and jogging and doing the things they need to do to be successful in their future endeavor. And that means doing, presentations and doing, business analytics and patient outcomes, quality improvement processes, developing policies, how to collaborate with others. Even like we're doing now, think about telemedicine. That's become such a prevalent part of society in the last with the coronavirus pandemic.
Right.
We're rolling that, so we do that and we do simulation work and things like that. So everything's grounded on evidence and best evidence to practice. If you find that, you're doing the most efficient care possible to get the best outcome for the patient. So that's what we will focus with our program.
I love that. And I think what's really important, like you said, Ray, is that you put the time in to build these students so that they can hit the ground running when they get done. So I think that's what makes the program world class. I think
they're going to bring it to us that it keeps our A game as a provider. I mean, I'm not just teaching in the classroom, I'm a healthcare provider. So I'm having to, so that's what's really nice about it is they're keeping me on my, I'll keep myself and my other colleagues on our A game because they're asking the critical questions that we need to, and they're asking questions that, okay, let me think about this. And let's work on this together. So if a patient has a injury or condition maybe unique, they're going to solve it together with their preceptor. It's a collaborative process, and we're helping them along the way. But they're very much part of that solution. Even while they're learning in the classroom and clinically, we want to make our classrooms are very much we like to consider them very much an extension of the clinical. The clinical setting, and you see, that your background is right. If I was over your shoulder, right over to your right, your shoulder is where our Broussard Center for Athletic Training is. In that classroom, in my background, that's what we're looking out on. So it's right there. We can walk right out into the facility and do the thing, and they see that firsthand. So we talk about inflammation, post-surgical pain. Well, we may have a patient in clinic. Let's go look at this and see what our limitations are. So it's not just looking at it in a book or watching a video, it's the patient's right here. Or if they go out to the physician group or physician practice and they're doing rotation or wherever the setting they're doing that in. So.
Wow. So finally, this is the question that we always get asked, Ray, from our recruits, but how do we pay for this grad school education? What opportunities are out there for them?
Well, the one is we try to be active in where our students who get into our program. We have professional scholarships. We have 1 to 2 each year that are in our current program that get national. This year we had 2 students who received a national scholarship through our National Association Foundation. There's regional. Those are things that usually would occur once they're in the program, between their first and second year. So they're applying that to apply during that period. Obviously, any graduate school is in any health profession is expensive. It's not. So you're obviously looking for financial aid. Work on that plan to what you're going to do for the couple of years as well with that. One thing that's unique for our program, at least I think I know it's going to be unique across the country, is on our 60 credit hour program. So students will take the summer one when they first get here, they're taking 9 credits. Fall and spring, they're taking about 15 credits and each semester. So it's very intensive. They have the summer off between the first and second year, so it allows them to take a breather, but also we want them to be able to they need to, it's being sensitive to that financial demand that any institution would do and give them a break. And then also they come in their last year. They take the full academic load in their fall and spring of their second year, then they graduate. As far as what we're doing is unique, is I think really unique is we're incorporating the emergency medicine component. So students will be able to sit for the National Registry exam to practice as an EMT after their first summer. So it's not won't be a requirement, but if they do, then they have an opportunity to work with EMS, not as part of our program separately, but they do have that credential. They can practice, work as an EMT with hopefully they brought on board like with the Acadian or East Baton Rouge EMS, or they're doing something in the summertime. They can gain some employment outside of what they're doing. So it offsets their expenses, but also at the end of the day, they're going to have, we want to give them the tools. They have different credentials. They'll be allowed to work with them. The focus is the athletic training credential. But we can work through a number of different things as an opportunity. And they get to see that firsthand working with other providers, and it's going to enrich them. It's things we do already as an athletic trainer and our skill sets as a highly qualified healthcare provider, definitely in emergency medicine cases as well. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. You're already here. Let's just take it one little extra step, and they can get that credential. We do some other added qualifications that they could work in the summertime or do some things outside their clinicals. That's where we would offset the opportunities for that. The other thing that was really nice, I know that LSU in itself, and I know you're aware of this, that we offer a number of different scholarships, could be in-state and/or out-of-state tuition, waivers, or reducing fees. So when students apply, we're going to work with them and try to make sure they're eligible for our university-wide graduate school. They could be full tuition waivers altogether. So that's what I'm excited about. And there's also opportunities for students to apply through to become a graduate assistant, either some graduate assistantships or fellowships, even working as an RA or some housing offsetting. I think those are some things, I know you've probably covered that or will cover that in different settings as well, different aspects of your different podcast or webcasts you're doing as well. So that's our goal. Hopefully we're going to be our students are going to be very competitive coming in, and that's what we want to try. And we're going to try to, we're taking the approach, we want to leave no stone left unturned. The idea is students can come here and while it's to minimize that financial, I'm gonna say financial aid, financial debt they're getting for student loans or other opportunities as well. So that's our goal, to do that for every student, not just 3 or 4 students. We're looking to have, because they are going, and even though there's some other funding initiatives through the state, through healthcare workforce, improving that and addressing any number of different facets based for students.
Well, that's wonderful, Ray. Well, thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you, Dr. Castle. I'm excited about the program. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
I
sir.
am too. It's going to be great. I think it's a great addition for, one, for LSU, we're moving up. We have a different degree level. Number 2, for Louisiana, having a highly qualified healthcare provider coming out, and also as we move into the next era for our program, and just the profession as well, we're going to be able to do some things when we start the master's program. We have a new facility that's coming on board in 2 years, definitely around 2 years, give or take. So that cohort that comes in this upcoming year, after their first year, the goal, I think, where it looks like we'll be moving into that new facility. So I'm excited to get a new home, so to speak, so with that as well. And then just really the opportunities we can to visit with students and explore what LSU has to offer.
Well, thank you, Doc. We appreciate you.
You too as well. Great seeing you.
Yes, sir. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another feature of So You Want to Go to Grad School. Take care and have a great day. Go Tigers.